So welcome everybody to the I2N Accelerator's information session. So this information session will cover all info that you will need, whether you're a clean tech founder, a health tech founder, or an all industries founder. We have every single bit of info you need to shortcut your application, and ensure that you put your best foot forward to submitting something super compelling for our assessment team, our assessment panel to take a look at and put forward for boot camp. And we're super fortunate today to have a couple of awesome supporters of our program, and they are from the Trailblazer for Recycling Clean Energy, who are supporting our clean tech folk, and they are the Central Coast Health and Wellbeing Living Lab, supporting our health tech folk. And they're here because one, they'll be taking a look at a few of your applications, and two, they are primed to help you understand what they would love to see in an application. So before we get into the housekeeping and everything else to do with this event, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which we meet today. For us here in Newcastle, it's the Worimi, the Awabakal and Worimi people, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. You can let us know from wherever you're calling in from, because I know that we have quite a few people from further up the Hunter and down on the Central Coast and up the North Coast, and I think a couple in Sydney actually joining us today. So you can let us know where you're joining us from by typing, letting us know in the chat where you're joining us. But as I mentioned before, this info session is a primer. It's an update, and some insights, some not so secret, but at least handy bits of information that you can use in your application process. But for those who are joining us who don't know about the I2N, or this is the first time that you've jumped on a call and engaged with anyone from the I2N team at the University of Newcastle, it's our vision to make sure that the Hunter region is Australia's best ecosystem for startups. And we do that by harnessing our region's unique resources to empower innovators like all of you on the call today to build super high impact startups that make a difference for people and their lives. And we do that through three main ways. One of those ways is to develop the entrepreneurial mindsets, so mindset changing and perspective changing, and including enterprise skill, embedding enterprise skill development for our students, staff, and our broader community. And that can enhance employability prospects and just your general ability and openness to solving problems. We also work with our researchers at the University of Newcastle to increase the translation of their publicly funded research into commercial outcomes, and we call them spin-outs. And finally, for most people, especially you on the call, we're supporting you to build new ventures and scale that success. And we do that through startups, and we do that through the accelerator that we're talking about today. But over the years, and we've been around since 2016, but over the years, we've done a bunch of different stuff. We've done events, we've done talks, we've done programs, we run a co-working space, an incubator, a mentoring program, we do innovation challenges with industries. And all of that has allowed us to engage with thousands of people across the region and thousands of businesses. And so while this is a bit of a vanity metric slide, it just helps explain the breadth of support that we offer for Newcastle, the Hunter, and Central Coast. But what really matters to us are those impact outcomes. And that is how many teams are accelerated and incubated? How are they growing? How big are they? How many are at Series A? How much money are they raising in their funding rounds as a group, as a cohort? And when they raise that money and generate that revenue, how many people are they employing and how much are they spending on employee salaries? Because new job creation and opportunities for our students through engagement and our researchers through collaboration is super, super important for us. New ventures equal new opportunity, and new opportunity means an uplift in people's livelihoods and an uplift for our region as we transition from a traditional resources-based economy into a knowledge economy and create awesome, wonderful jobs and opportunities for everyone here in the Hunter, Central Coast, and Newcastle. And here's a quick cross section of some of the founders that we've supported over the years. It's just a slice. And much of that support is delivered from where I'm calling you from today, from I2N Hub at Honeysuckle. We are the epicenter of entrepreneurship here in the Hunter. And we've got a beautiful building, Q building, where it's us, our creative industries friends, a bunch of teaching and learning. But for me, my passion is in that program development, that program delivery for all of you on the call. And we do that from our level 2 seminar space, from our innovation common on the ground floor, from our event space on the ground floor, and from our incubator up on level 3, where all our awesome members and founders from our programs live and base their teams and grow out of. But we can't do this Can't do any of this without the support of our program partners and our strategic partners. So a huge thank you again to Courtney and her team at the Central Coast Health and Wellbeing Living Lab, to Lena and her team at the Trailblazer for Recycling and Clean Energy, from the Investment New South Wales team and Regional New South Wales team. We are very proud to be able to support people in our state to do all of this stuff. And finally, Lauren and her team at Davies, Collison Cave, who work with our founders through the pre-accelerator, accelerator, and incubator to better understand IP, where founders stand with their IP, what they should be doing, and what good IP hygiene looks like. And there's a whole bunch of perk partners, which you as a founder who is fortunate enough to be in our programs, and we're fortunate enough to support you. We give you access to all of these perks, plus a whole bunch more. But what we're really here for today is to learn about the accelerator program. So let's jump in. I'd like to kick off with a quick video, a wrap-up video actually from last year's accelerator, so that you can better understand what it's like to take part in an I2N program like this one.
The last 12 weeks in the accelerator has been a mixed bag of emotions. It has been overwhelming, exciting, honestly a roller coaster. It's also been magical. To look at where we came when we first started to now, a lot has happened and it's incredible.
Everything about it has been so amazing and informative.
I've really enjoyed everyone that they brought in to teach us things from negotiation to just even the accounting side of things.
We've formed amazing connections with fellow entrepreneurs and investors and other mentors.
I'm just super proud to be part of a movement toward a sustainable future, and meeting other people working in that space is really great. It's really affirming.
Our proudest achievement from the last 12 weeks, gosh, we've managed to do quite a bit. So I think launching our first version of Adios has been amazing.
I've been really proud of you.
I'm really proud of us.
My proudest achievement from the last 12 weeks is building up my pitching skills, starting to talk to investors and bringing in a first signed term sheet for investment for some preliminary work on the company.
Our technology got validated by the university, and also we got potential clients as well. We also outgrown the university lab and moved into our own workshop. So that's a great achievement for us.
One of the greatest things that we've learned about ourselves, particularly being here at I2N and Newcastle, is that we can be ourselves, you know? We can be a married couple, 36 weeks pregnant. For us, it's quite refreshing.
Entrepreneurship can be incredibly isolating, so having a place where the university supports you is incredible.
Got a one university town, they're incredibly networked, provide lots and lots of contacts, and really provide that bridge between researchers, entrepreneurs, the university and community.
You cannot get to connect to such influential and pivotal people if you're just doing it on your own. And I think the uni gives you that greater network and connectivity to the bigger market.
For anyone who wants to dive into entrepreneurship, you've just got to do it. And then when you do decide to do it, come and see us at the University of Newcastle. The I2N has so much support on offer, and we're here to help you move from idea generation through to complete and total execution and commercialization journey. We'll do it all. Come see us.
How good is that? I'm just going to bring up my deck again. It's been a while since I've seen that video, and it's so nice to see what happened in the cohort last year and all the awesome things that they achieved, partially from their participation in the program, but also the massive effort that each of them put in to their ventures. It's amazing, and I do know I can speak from feedback and experience with each of those founders. They have an incredible time at building not just their venture, but building alongside other founders, doing the same things or similar things to them, hitting the same milestones, but also hitting the same roadblocks that they can support each other with, support each other to get around or over, and just the support that surrounds them and the community that surrounds them here at the hub and in Newcastle through the regions is super, super valuable to all of them, as you could hear from that video. But I'm even more excited to do it again. We're always looking to improve. We're always looking to support founders in new and exciting ways. And we've definitely got some interesting plans up our sleeves for this year. So I'm really keen to meet who will be the next founders in the I2N Accelerator for 2025. But if you're watching that video and wondering, is this for me? Do I fit? Can I take part in this? Hopefully this helps you understand who we're looking to work with and who we're best able to serve. And that is ventures from the Hunter and Central Coast regions who may be a solo founder or maybe have a couple of co-founders or team members with them. They're at pre-Series A funding stage, so they're still early stage, but they're building some innovative tech-enabled products or services that they'd like to help people in their lives and in their day-to-day. You're ambitious, you have growth plans, you want to scale this beyond you want to scale this beyond the region here in Newcastle and go far beyond that. There's a whole bunch of different ways that we can do that. Scaling is not just technology, there's other ways that we can achieve that. There's a lot of commitment. We're committing to you in this program for 13 weeks, and we expect that you can commit to us for the weekly workshops and the coaching sessions that you get with your entrepreneur in residence, your mentor that's attached to your team, and your industry connector who's there to connect you into people that you need to understand in order to get your go-to-market working or your product working. You're eager to learn, you're a curious person, and you're open to feedback and constant improvement. And you're interested in joining us in one of our 3 streams, be it the all industry stream, the clean tech stream, or the health tech stream as of August 2025. And the objectives, once you're in, what we're going to instill in you and build up in you is your customer readiness, whether you're actively testing with customers and how to get to those customers, your business readiness, that you have a pricing model out there that's tested with customers, tested with people, and you've gotten feedback, and you've got a revenue model, a financial model. And we do a bunch of different ways that we have a bunch of different ways that we can build that with you through the program. I mentioned DCC before. They'll work with you on your IP readiness, your team readiness, how we get you to your first hire, your next hire, your co-founder. What does that look like? Do you bring on contractors? Do you need advisors? We help you with all of that. Your tech readiness, how do you build? We're built right now in the pre-accelerator. We're building MVPs. We're focused on MVP right now. What's the next step for your tech and how do we help you achieve that? And finally, the funding readiness. Have you got everything in aligned, or are you building towards alignment so that you can tell a compelling story to an investor if you need to bring one on? And those investors don't just have to be venture capitalists or angel investors. They could be grant funding partners from private industry or the government. They could be industry partners who are co-funding part of your development or part of your go-to-market to augment them. There's a whole bunch of different ways that we can get you ready, but it does come down to getting everything aligned in your story and your venture. And there's a bit of a roadmap that we're walking right now. We're currently in apps open for the accelerator, and we're currently partway through the pre-accelerator. So we're in that May to June section. And while the pre-accelerator is happening, there's that you can submit an application for this program. You don't have to be in this year's pre-accelerator to take part in the accelerator. You don't have to have taken part in an I2N program to take part previously, or a university program to take part in our program. You don't have to have any affiliation whatsoever to the university to take part in our programs. What we do is assess your application so that we can send you an invitation to bootcamp. And so bootcamp will happen in July, and I'll talk about bootcamp more broadly in a second. Bootcamp will happen in July, where we'll invite 20 of the top applicants from the program to meet with investors and experts over 2 days. And then they will make the selection into the accelerator, which happens in August to November. And at the end of November, we have that big demo night, which you saw in that video, and all the founders talk about their experience over the last couple of months. And then after that, we move you into our incubator phase, which includes mentoring and team mentors attached to your team for 6 months through to June 2026, and a whole bunch of support services, be it a desk at the hub here at Honeysuckle, or working with our program partners, our mentors, or our coaches through the incubation phase. But let's talk a bit about bootcamp and the accelerator. So the accelerator phase is for our 3 streams. It's for up to 10 teams in that program. And we'll be kicking off in July for that 2-day bootcamp. That's July 22, 23, and 24. And over those 2 days, you'll be meeting with a whole host of investors who have joined us from all over the country to meet regional founders doing awesome stuff like you. And they'll be assessing you on a number of different things, which we'll talk about soon. But essentially what they're looking for is change over time, coachability, how this fits within an accelerator program. Are you ready to take the next step into an accelerator? And then they'll send their assessment, and we'll select the top 10 from that. And then in the accelerator, we'll touch on a lot of go-to-market. We're trying to build a sustainable business model for you that we can then move on to scale. And so there'll be a lot of marketing, branding, go-to-market, researching customers, getting through to customers, talking to customers. You're always talking to customers. Pitching and deck creation for different resources, be them first hire, investment, sales, leadership and culture. How do you effectively be a leader in your own venture and in the community. How do we do that? How do we lead with example and from a place that's true to us? We touch on all of that through the program. We do loads of financial modeling in this particular cohort, and we'll bring a whole bunch of different people to give you perspectives on how they model the finances or the projections of their venture. You'll be augmented with support from weekly coaches, from an entrepreneur in residence, and a dedicated mentor. You'll also have AMAs with founders. You'll meet all the founders who have taken part in our programs. You'll meet with founders from our region, and you'll meet with key people from the university and from industry. You'll be doing loads of pitching. You'll be doing loads of storytelling, and you'll have heaps of opportunity to be seen on a big stage that we create for you at the I2N. There's perk partner benefits and co-working from the hub as well. And that incubator phase includes things like venture mentor service. So you get surrounded 2 to 4 mentors each team, surrounded by their support every month up until June the 30th. And we'll have some targeted workshops that we do in the hub with our community and some opportunities in our community to support you on your journey as you exit the accelerator and are not essentially dropped off a cliff. That support continues to scale up and grow with you on your journey. If you're wondering what a day looks like in the accelerator, for example, here's a day for one of the first sessions. There's 2 sessions in the first week. This is one of them. We will do some program onboarding from 9 a.m. So we get in to the building at 9 to kick off. So you're here earlier, you're in the room at 9 and ready to go with your fellow cohort founders. We'll go for half the day and have a break at lunch. And at lunch, typically, we have a break to get your food ready, come back into the room and meet with a founder, talk about their experience, what they've been doing, and how they do their thing, depending on the topic of the panel. And we wrap that up after about an hour. And in the afternoon, we'll do another session. For example, on this day, we'd be doing some goal setting. And you'd be there with your mentor and your entrepreneur in residence and industry connector to help set those goals, to understand what's reasonable and practical for you to achieve in 13 weeks. And then between 4 and 5, up to 5, we'll finish the day. And there'll be a whole bunch of homework set for you that you'll get done in your own time and come back into the room the following week for another session that looks somewhat similar to this. Content in the morning, lunch in the day where we may meet a founder, and then in the afternoon we have another session to finish off. Around all of this are weekly entrepreneur in residence sessions. So you get a one-on-one, your team with the entrepreneur in residence for 1 hour. You get a 1-hour weekly mentor session with your mentor, and you get a monthly industry connector session for 1 hour or more if you're in the clean tech or health tech stream. And after all of this, after 13 weeks, you get structured growth and sharp focus on your customer. It's all about go-to-market and getting that first customer or next best customer. You're leveraging the experience of an ambitious cohort and community that's surrounding you here in the hub. You're progressing your venture toward first customer and investment, and you're effectively communicating the product that you're developing and the impact it will have on a group of people. And finally, all of those readiness levels that we touched on before, customer, IP, team, and the rest, you'll be building those through the program alongside your mentor and facilitators. But it comes with a caveat. It comes with a proviso that you only get what you put in. If you turn up for the sessions on the day and don't do any other work, the progress that you make by the time we get to the end of the program will reflect that. However, if you're jumping on every opportunity that we throw at you and you're creatively working around your own schedule and your own responsibilities outside of the program to make sure that you get everything done within reason, we all have lots of things to balance, you'll find that you'll make progress like you've never made before. People often reflect on their time in our accelerator program and many other programs around Australia where they think, I wish I could go back to those 13 weeks because having that accountability and having that structure in the way that I approach my venture is really hard to replicate on my own. And so using that time effectively in program is what we're trying to enable you to do. I wanted to stop for just a second. We're about halfway through. And I wanted to check the chat and just take a look at any questions that it might have come up. I know that Callan's been furiously answering questions and sharing links in the chat, but if we take a look at the Q&A, is there anything in here? Not yet. So if you have a question, just let us know. So there's a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. If you hit that, you can type some questions in the session. Yep, Sandy and Shell. I see that chat's disabled. Use the Q&A button down the bottom, which a bunch of you are. All right, I'll keep going with this presentation and we'll come back to questions. So if you've got a question in the back of your mind, think about how you're going to put it into the Q&A section. And we'll come back to that very soon. So let's consider the applicant requirements. What do we actually need you to do? It's what we said before. If you can hit all of these things, you're in the regions, you've got a team or you're a solo founder, you're leveraging tech, you're at pre-Series A funding stage, you're committed and you're a growth-oriented founder and you're committed to growing your venture. You can attend the workshops, you're open to feedback and you're coachable. You're an Australian registered PTY Ltd company, or you're going to be during the program. And you have full ownership of the intellectual property. If you have questions around that, chuck them in the chat and we'll address them near the end of this session. So this process, what does an application take to put together? Well, I'm going to jump to the form in a second, but in the form, there's a PDF that we share, and you can download that PDF and it has a copy of all the questions in the application form, so that you can work on your application as you get time. The reason for that is because if you start doing your application in the web form from the link that you go to on our accelerator page, and for some reason the page shuts down, maybe your computer crashes, or you just shut your computer down, you forget that you've got the tab open and you close your browser, all of that work you've done in the Airtable form will disappear. And so we ask that you just do work on this on a notepad, on a Word doc, whatever you use as a word processor. Work on your application in your own time, and then copy paste all your answers over to the form when you're ready to submit. And when you are ready to submit, make sure that you've recorded a 3-minute video that addresses who you are, what is the problem that you're solving, and what is the potential solution that you have in mind. Who the customers are and end users are, why your team is the best to solve this problem that you're solving, and where you see your venture in 5 years' time. And that video is 3 minutes. Please don't go over 3 minutes. And it's super, super basic. It can just be like what you and I are doing right now, where you're on a Zoom call and you've just hit record on Zoom, or you've set your phone up and you're filming yourself with your phone. All you're trying to do is answer those questions in 3 minutes and record it and then send it to us. In your recording, when you're sending it to us, you won't be able to attach the video file to the application. What I do suggest you do is you upload it to a cloud sharing service. Maybe it's Google Cloud, Google Docs, maybe it's iCloud on Apple, maybe it's something else, or maybe it's an unlisted YouTube video. Either way, what you need to provide for us to get that video is a link for us to view it, because you will not be able to share it or upload it to the form. And if you do put a link in, make sure that that link can be shared with anybody. Don't specifically share it with my email or the I2N's email, because this application will be viewed by a panel of assessors. And so they need to be able to open your video. So make sure that your link is an open sharing or a public link that people can access. But if you're using YouTube or Vimeo, you can make it a private, an unlisted video so that only people with the link can view it, if that makes sense. If you have any questions around that, again, chuck it in the Q&A or ask me another time on the I2N Slack or via email. And then when you're ready to submit, you've got everything ready to go, your written app and your video, jump onto the Airtable form link on the I2N Accelerators page, copy paste everything in, submit it, and you're ready to go. Let's actually do a deep dive right now. So what I'll do is I'll open up a browser which has our form that we're working through. And so this is my browser that has the Accelerator webpage. This is the page that has all of the streams listed. So clean tech, health tech, all industries. And this button here at the top can be accessed from any of those pages. So let's actually click it to open it up. And what pops up is an accelerator form. And this is the form that everybody will view. It's the same for everybody. And it gives a bit of information that we've just gone through in this information session. And then it starts with the questions. So we've got some personal questions and some demographic questions about you as a participant and an applicant. And each one, some of them are drop downs, some of them are just plug a URL in, and some of them are select one or more. For example, you can select a few ways that you may have seen us or heard about the program. You can select a whole bunch of different options across here. And as you go down, you'll find each question has different answers. So we've tried to make it as easy with some pre-populated answers that you can take. If we scroll down from here, we start to ask a bit about your idea from question 20. So those first 20 questions are usually quite quick. They're just single answer questions. From question 20, things get creative. And this is a question where we ask, and these are some tips for you as a potential applicant. We want you to be brief, but straight to the point. So and that's a hard balance to strike. For example, here we ask for a sentence to be less than 20 words, 10 sentences. That's 200 words. The point of this particular question is it sets the tone for the rest of your application. It helps the assessor or the audience quickly understand what problem you're trying to solve and who you're trying to solve it for and why they actually care about it. So try and help us understand that in those sentences. You don't have to put a full 10 sentences there, but 10 sentences of 20, up to 10 sentences of 20 words can help us understand what we're about to get ourselves into in this application. We'll ask questions like how long you've been working on the idea, how many people on your team and what are their roles, why are you the right team to solve this, what's the industry sector, how will you make money? This question in 25, 26, 27, and through to 29, so 25 to 29, these five questions are super important to help us understand the commercial readiness of your idea. And it doesn't have to be selling. You don't have to have revenue coming in. That's not what we're trying to assess. We're trying to assess what you're thinking. What does the future look like for you as a founder? And so who will pay? It's all future oriented. Who will pay? How often will they pay? What's the potential revenue streams that you can generate or create as part of your software venture, your hardware venture, or a mix of the both? What's the problem? If you think about if you've done a value proposition canvas, who has the problem, and how does your solution address those things to the problem? If you understand it, think about the pains and the gains that you're addressing with your problem, and the gain creators and the pain relievers that you create. Have you validated that people are willing to pay for this, and how have you validated it? Have you done customer discovery interviews? Have you done market research? Have you set up experiments where you've got people saying they'd like to pay by clicking a button or handing you their contact details because you've said we're going to be selling this in the future? Just tell us a story about how that's happened. And then briefly describe the people that have the problem. We want to understand how deeply you know your target market, how you've segmented them in your plan and in your mind and in your approach, and what do you know about them that's super unique to you that makes it really hard for your competitors to replicate what it is that you're doing. Then we ask about MVP, TRLs, online demos. This is where you chuck your link in. I remember it can be a video, cloud file, Figma, interactive form, whatever it is, just got to be a link. And then your market sizing, and then how have you generated traction to date? Traction can be financial and non-financial. So it can be wait lists, letters of intent, sales partnerships, as well as other things like money in the bank. How have you funded things? Have you bootstrapped? Have you had some investment from someone or some people? How many non-paying users do you have? How many people do you have using the platform that aren't giving you money to use it? And then how many people are using the product or platform that are paying to use it? Simple numbers are fine there. What is the current competition? What does your ecosystem look like? Who's involved and why do they matter? And if it all works out, what's happening in 5 times? In 5 years. This is your opportunity to be really bold, to talk about how you're changing the lives of lots of people and how you're making it better. Why, basically matching why people care now to how you can scale that appreciation and that recognition. And then some questions for you to answer. What motivated you to make an application? What are the top 3 things you need now from a program like the I2N Accelerator? And if you've previously completed an I2N program, are you applying with the same idea? Has anything changed? And then finally, this is the video, the video question. So answer those questions that have stuck here, but give us a link. Give us a link to your YouTube, Vimeo, or a public cloud drive URL. Remember, it has to be public so that we can actually access it. And finally, if there's anything else you'd like to add about you or your company, chuck it in down here. Maybe there's something we've missed or you haven't had the chance to properly explain in your application. Just put it there. So that's the application itself. And if we head back into our PowerPoint, we have an opportunity to talk about what your application will be looked at. What are people thinking when they're going through your application into the accelerator? Well, they're looking for 5 things. And those 5 things are, is your vision unique? Is it one of a kind? And is it compelling? Does it make the person who's reading your application feel like this could be true? What they're saying here makes sense, and I totally want to see this come to life. We also look at your technology. Is it novel? Is it a first of a kind? Some people don't hit on this, and that's fine. But if you do have a unique piece of tech, how unique is it actually? And then traction. Traction can come in financial terms and non-financial. So we look at users, revenue, technical progress, and customer validation. And also massive improvement. Can this beat the status quo? Typically, founders have to change behavior and attitudes of people out there in the community, in the market. Can you actually do that? Because it's a hard thing to do. What do you have that makes people want to switch, want to change the way that they do things, they behave in their life? And finally, the team. Are you a second-time founder, or is someone else on the team a second-time founder, or they've done this before? Do they have significant experience in the industry that you're working in? Do they have a really unique connection to the problem and can convey a really unique story as to why this is important to them, why it matters to them? And finally, are you hyper ambitious? Is no one going to get in your no one can get in your way. No one's going to stop you, no matter what happens, whether you get into this program or you're out there building on your own. You're going to do it no matter what. When we look at these scoring criteria, we understand as assessors that you're probably going to be able to hit one or two of these things. No team who submits an application to the I2N Accelerator hits all 5 of these things. It is, as an early stage founder with limited resources, it's basically impossible to be the best at all of these things. So we will score you according to these, and the way that we score you is what are you best at in these 5 things. So try and help us understand what are you really strong at within these domains, within the scope of your venture. And again, if you have questions around this, just chuck them in the Q&A and we'll answer them near the end. So the key dates for all this: applications will close the 6th of July, in the first week of July. Bootcamp will happen on the 23rd and 24th of July. So after the 6th, after apps close, that next week, that following week, we will assess all of the applications and we will send out invitations to the top 20 to join us at Bootcamp on the 23rd and 24th of July here in Honeysuckle. Now, as we mentioned with the commitment, we're committing to you, so we need you to be here for those we need someone on the team to be here for those full days, those full 2 days, because there's a whole bunch of work that happens between you and the investors and the industry experts. And then once the bootcamp's over, a week later, we go through all of the scores that following week that are submitted from the experts and investors, and we cut to the top 10. And we invite that top 10 for our accelerator that happens through mid-August to the start of November, so for 13 weeks. Our demo night will happen on the 29th of October, which is a big celebration of all the awesome work that you as founders have done in this program and all of the traction that you've achieved through the program. And then you'll stay on with us. We'll continue supporting you through the incubator phase, through our mentoring program, Venture Mentor Service, through all of the activities that happen at the hub, and through the opportunities that the university can unearth for you through it and our partners. And that will go through to June 2026, through the end of June 2026. Just a blanket statement on intellectual property from the University of Newcastle's perspective and your participation in this program. We as the University of Newcastle make no claim over IP generated by participants as part of this accelerator program, subject to the university IP policy and procedure, provided your use of the IP acknowledges that the IP was developed as part of the accelerator program, unless it is unreasonable to do so. If a team member is an employee or student of the University of Newcastle, they agree and acknowledge that ownership of the IP will be in accordance with the university IP policy and procedure as amended from time to time, and teams may request the assistance of the University of Newcastle to commercialise the IP, noting that the university is entitled to recover the cost of any assistance. What that means, and that's a really long statement, what that means is if you're a staff member of the university, it is likely that you will be affected by the university's IP policy. So you need to be aware of that and take a look at that and ask us or our tech transfer office, Key, ask them any questions they may have. If you are not a staff member of the university and the IP that you've developed was not as part of your normal work at the University of Newcastle, so maybe you're a student in some cases, or maybe you're just a general member of the public, maybe you're an alumni of the university, or you don't have any affiliation with the university whatsoever. Taking part in the I2N Accelerator does not mean that the university owns your IP. It doesn't mean that we make a claim. It's just for those people who are staff members and some students, not all, but some students, namely PhD students or students funded through university to use university lab space and things of that nature. That's where the policy, the IP policy, plays a part. If that's confusing to you, you have any questions, come and ask us, and we'll answer that, or just chuck it in the Q&A for the bit that you don't understand, and we'll try and answer it today. But for this last section before our blanket Q&A, so if you have a question, start thinking about it and put it in the Q&A section. But I'm going to invite our awesome partners, Courtney from the Central Coast Health and Wellbeing Living Lab and Lena from the Trailblazer for Recycling Clean Energy, or TRACE. They're going to share a bit about who they are, what they do, and then how potential support that they can offer participants in this program, and what they'd like to see in an application, any guidance they have for you putting in an application for a program like this. So I'm going to stop sharing and throw to Courtney, who's on the panel, and is going to share a bit about her role in this program.
Thank you so much, Richard. I really enjoyed hearing all of that again, so thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Courtney Malloy. I'm the manager of the Central Coast Health and Wellbeing Living Lab. The Living Lab on the Central Coast is a partnership between the local health district here, so the Central Coast Local Health District, and the University of Newcastle. Our Living Lab is focused on health and wellbeing, and particularly around how we support our community to age well. We don't put a specific age on what aging is, so it means that we're working with all of our community to look at innovation to help us all age well in a way that ensures that we're connected and that our well-being is as best as it can be. A living lab is a pretty kind of abstract word and concept, but what a living lab really is it's a way of doing innovation that doesn't take an idea out into a lab separately and work on it over there. It's actually about doing innovation in the real world. So that means that living labs are often quite place-based. So we're very much focused on working with our community. It's about working on problems that are important to the community. So we work with the community to understand what should we be working on? And then it's about working with the community, with people who might use an innovation, who might be affected by an innovation, or who might deliver an innovation. It's about making sure that all of those people are around the table as early as possible and involved in the development of an innovation. So for us, that might include older community members, it might include aged care professionals, it's clinicians, community service providers, businesses, researchers, students. So we bring all of those people around the table to work on new ideas. What are some of the things that we look at? Because aging well is obviously a big thing. Well, our focus since July last year has been on community connection. So that was after talking to our community, they said to us that social isolation and loneliness is something that's really important and a big issue for us. So we then have been working with the community to understand what does that look like, working with technology developers, with researchers to say, what should we be doing then? What are the new ideas that might help us overcome social isolation and loneliness and create a more connected community? So an example of what some of that work has looked like has been working with a technology developer who's developed a new app that supports people to capture their life stories. It's called A Moment With. So it's about creating connection then across generations. We're also working in a non-tech focused project on with a local high school and an aged care provider on how we bring those two generations together to enrich the lives of both of those people and enable both of them to share wisdom. So that's some of our community connection work that we've been doing. We also do some fee-for-service work. So that means we've been working with a provider who develops technology. They developed a new application that uses artificial intelligence to enable better care planning. So care planning in the aged care sector takes a long time. It's really resource intensive, and often it relies on people sitting there and taking notes. So this new piece of technology is being developed that means that a care provider can sit there with an older person and have a conversation, and the AI app kind of takes care of turning that into a care plan. So we've been working with them to independently evaluate that technology. So that's some of the kinds of work that we do. We're also working with researchers here at the University of Newcastle to understand how, when an older person leaves hospital, how can we help them be better supported so they're not readmitted? Because that's something that often happens when people leave hospital. They end up back there quite quickly because they haven't necessarily had the care in place to help them sort of stay out of hospital. So that's another kind of non-technical innovation that we've been working with people on. So that's some of the kinds of work that we do here at the Living Lab. We do all of this because, as all of you know who are on the call, you know, people and as community members, and especially older people, are often left out of the design process. So we see new technology being developed that is frustrating for older people. It's not inclusive and they just don't feel comfortable to access that. So that's the kind of reason for us being here. We're accredited with the European Network of Living Labs, which is really excellent. So it means that we're drawing on global best practice to do the work that we're doing, and we're able to share learnings with people around the world about how to best do a living lab. What would we be looking for in an application? I think given that we're a living lab, we want to see that ideas are solving real problems, because that's what living labs do. So we want to see that the ideas that are being put forward aren't just a good idea, but they're actually going to help make people's lives better, make them easier, and that they're genuinely solving a real problem. In terms of how we might support people who are in that health tech stream, we're really well networked with aged care providers, community service providers, people in the community here as well. So it means that we can support people in chatting to customers, whether they be people out in the community or people who are in a professional capacity supporting older community members, but we're also quite connected outside of that as well. I think that's all from me, Richard, from about the Living Lab, but I'm really happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Thank you, Courtney. I think we do have some questions coming in, but we'll get to them soon. It is awesome to be able to partner with the CCLL on this initiative, both in the pre-accelerator and accelerator. So thank you so much for the support and sharing what it is that you're doing in Gosford for our communities. I'm going to invite Lena now to share her experience and what they're doing at the Trailblazer or Trace for recycling and clean energy. I've got your deck up. Just let me know when you need me to change slide, Lena.
Yes, I think I've also sorted this out. Let's see here. Okay. Can I just have one go, Richard, of trying to, I'm just going to try and share my slides from, I think I have sorted it out.
Can do.
Let's see how we go. See how we go. Like so. And like drum roll. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, over to you,
Thank you,
Lena.
Google. Thank you, Richard. And thank you, Courtney. It's so cool. We kind of forget how much cool stuff's going on around in the regions here, and to hear more about the Living Lab and the amazing work you do, the impactful work that you do, it's amazing. So now on to the fast tracking net zero part of us. The Trailblazer for Recycling and Clean Energy is on a mission to fast track net zero. It's a large, very large, complex enablement and change program. We have a big, hairy, audacious goal, and that is to commercialize 10 years worth of research in only 4 years. So as a result, we will reduce emissions by about 180 million tonnes. We want to create skilled jobs, and we also have an aim of boosting Australian manufacturing. How we do that? A big part of how we do that is actually making it easier for startups and SMEs to work with universities to access all that amazing expertise and access to equipment that we have almost hidden away at our universities. On the other hand, we also help researchers better work with industry with awareness of language and perspectives to make a difference in the real world. My name is Lena Wesser-Hansen. I live and work on the Wabakal land here in the Hunter region, and I was born on Viking land. I work hand in hand with my partner in crime here, Sam Kirk. He's our research translation manager. And if you get to engage in the program, you'll meet both of us further along in your journey. So, R&D. As the Trailblazer for Recycling Clean Energy, we play in the R&D space. So what is actually R&D? It's the very early stages of innovation, quite often related in deep tech, and not always, but I guess our role, because we're clean energy, we play mostly in the deep tech space, or solving very complex clean energy solutions. it's a stage where you think you're onto something, but there's a lot of unknowns. And that is when you want to validate the process, you want to validate a reaction or the output. For example, EM Energy, who joined I2N in the accelerator last year, they had an explosion in their backyard and went, oof, what have we got here? Maybe we have hydrogen. But they came to us to validate that and verify not just the fact that they were producing hydrogen with their process, but also the purity of that hydrogen. So that gives you a little bit of an insight into what we could help with. So in terms of research collaboration, why would that be useful, right? So, well, in EM's case, EM Energy's case, they didn't have access to the equipment. They didn't have the equipment that they needed to validate these early findings, which is why they came to us. So they were able to come into the University of Newcastle and work side by side with researchers in a lab to validate these findings. So here is your unique opportunity. As a part of the I2N Accelerator, we are heavily investing in this program because we see the benefits of it. And we have this year, new to this year, we are providing 5 R&D vouchers. They are fully funded R&D projects. So that is 20K, either on clean energy or circular economy. I'll come into that a little bit later, but do note that these 20K of R&D projects, this is something that you normally would pay $10,000 for out of your own money to do. There is also 5 PhD stipend top-ups up for grabs. So this is having a young, keen mind come in and actually help you do some amazing work and help you to get to market a bit faster. I'm sure there'd be plenty of questions. I'm looking forward to answering them later on, but I'll just get into, in terms of your application, we'd love to understand if, and in which case, how your venture would fit into one of our 4 research themes. So that is solar, new PV solar, energy storage or electrification. Number 3, sustainable fuels. And then number 4 is circular economy and recycling as it relates to energy savings and decarbonisation. So we'd love for you to explicitly show us how your venture will potentially contribute to energy savings and decarbonisations of the world or your clients. And I think that's it for me. If you have any questions that you want to raise with us urgently, feel free to reach out. Here's my email address. It's a bit complex, but you also find me on LinkedIn. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Lena. That's awesome. Hearing the incredible support that Trailblazer offers for our clean tech founders, alongside the CCLL and everything that they offer for our health tech founders is super exciting. Did you want to just stop your thank you? Thank you. This is the part for Q&A. So we've got a bunch of questions already submitted in the Q&A section. I'm going to go through those, but if you have anything on the tip of your tongue, there's no wrong question. Anything that you're confused by, that doesn't make sense, you need clarity on, you want to share a case with us and what's happening, now's the time to plug that into the Q&A section and we'll address that live. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to email us or hit us up on the Slack. I think Callum will also share a Calendly invite to my calendar if you wanted to have a quick 20-minute chat with me via Zoom. But we'll kick off with Ben. Ben has asked, can we apply if we haven't generated income so far? And the answer is a resounding yes. This is an early stage accelerator program. So we're looking for ventures who have an idea around who their customer is, an idea around what their product is. Maybe they have an MVP, and they're ready when they get into the accelerator. They'll be quickly ready to start commercially dealing with and collaborating with customers. And they don't have to be sales straight away. They can be letters of support or letters of intent, pre-sales. They can be pilot tests or pilot agreements. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can go to market. And we're going to help you identify those methods and build with you how you strategically approach those markets. So No, you don't have to have income generated so far. We would like to help you do that. Rowan has asked, is the accelerator available for concept stage? And I think I kind of answered a bit of that. You've got to be a little bit beyond idea stage. So the pre-accelerator is for idea stage, but if you've got a good idea and you've validated that good idea with a bunch of customers, and you can share with us in your application and your video evidence as to why it's a good idea and people are ready to adopt and buy this, yeah, you're totally ready for the accelerator. So if you've had an idea yesterday and you think it's a good idea, that's probably not the best stage to be at in the accelerator. However, if you've had that idea for a little while and you've gone and done some customer discovery and maybe you've built a few campuses out to validate a lot of that, you are perfect for the accelerator. David has asked, what mainstream University of Newcastle courses best align with the I2N Accelerator? And this is where I wish I was at my desk because I have a list of them in front of my desk. But if we head over to the I2N webpage, so I'm going to share this link in the chat, but if you head over to the I2N webpage and you go to the courses for students site, so we call them university courses on the homepage, there's a number of courses led by my colleague Nick that are for all students at the University of Newcastle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this link in the chat. Take a look at that one, David, and any other students on the call, and take a look at BUSN 3004, BUSN 3500, INNOV 3004, and BUSN 3600. They are 4 courses that are in the business school, but can be enrolled in by any student, especially if you've got electives in your course, any student can take part in those. Those courses are directly aligned to the programs that we run here at the extracurricular programs that we run here at the I2N. So Nick, as an I2N team member, teaches those to you in your course. You get 10 credit points per course. But he also runs a pre-accelerator. The pre-accelerator is INNOV 3004. And INNOV 3004 means that if you finish that course and you submit an application into the accelerator, the I2N Accelerator program, into this program, we will give you $25,000 in non-dilutive funding to pursue your venture in this program. So to say that again, if you enroll in BUSN 3004 and you complete that course and you're accepted into the I2N Accelerator, we will give you $25,000. There are so many universities who offer courses for credit in entrepreneurship, who have extracurricular accelerator programs. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we're the only one who does that crossover. We'll co-fund you, we'll fund you as you come into the accelerator program, which is a huge opportunity for an early stage venture. $25,000 can do a lot to change your venture. I hope that answers your question, David. Annie has asked a really great question. Would you say it is beneficial to have some sort of online demo ready with the application? In one of the questions we say, if you do have a demo, and you may not, but if you do, you can share it in the application in that link box. So just share a link. Maybe you've got some Figma mock-ups of your idea. Maybe you've got an online demo, a video of you using the thing, or a video of you demoing the thing in real life or on a web page, however that demo looks. Maybe you've got some drawings, some technical drawings, or some sketches, even non-technical sketches, or some 3D CAD modeling. I'm not sure, but demos come in all sorts of shapes and forms and shapes. Whatever it is for you, that's the opportunity for you to share it. But if you don't have a demo, that's okay. Just use the other sections of the application to better explain in a compelling way what it is that you're doing. And Bronte has asked another really great question. What is about more service-based products? Does this fit for that? Or what about more service-based products? Product, service, it doesn't matter. If you're a product business, great, we can work with you, and our mentors in EIR can work with you. If you're a service-based business, equally so the truth. We can work with you, our EIR and mentor can work with you. We wrap bespoke support around you to better fit the way that what you're building and the way that you solve that problem and how you get to market. So if you're a product business or a service business, we can support you. What we really care about is your coachability, your willingness to learn. We also care about your willingness to scale and grow. They're the things that we're looking for in your application that we mentioned earlier. I'm going to leave it for 1 more minute because we have 1 more minute in the call and we can stay longer. If you have a question, please throw it into the chat. There is one last thing that I wanted to answer, which is the difference between health tech and clean tech. So if you're a health tech founder and you're wondering, is this for me? where we are looking for founders who are building digital health solutions. Maybe it's clinical tools, patient-facing applications, and healthcare analytics. It could also be healthcare services and innovation, including care delivery models, remote monitoring systems, and clinical decision support. We're looking for people who are building solutions in preventative health with tech or wearables. Maybe it's healthcare infrastructure, like interoperability tech or personalized medicine tech. They're the spaces we're looking at. We're not looking for therapeutics or heavily regulated medical devices. And then for clean tech, we're looking for founders who are solving problems in clean energy, clean water, recycling, waste, supply chain, built environment, air quality, and transportation. With both of our streams, we've done our best to be as broad as possible. So if you're on the fence as to whether this is relevant for you, whether you align to what we're doing, one, ask us a question, come and chat about it. But two, take a look on the websites where we clearly define it. But we're always open for a chat to understand. Himanshu's asked, just a quick question, will the panel primarily focus on clean tech and health tech versus all industries? No, we have an equal representation across all three streams. And all industries is augmented in different ways to clean tech and health tech, and that's through our mentor pool, which is a great question. Like, how do we differentiate? It's our mentor pool that heavily differentiates our all industry stream. So the amount of spots available in our program is equal across all three streams. So we say we take 10, but we can take up to 12. So we're looking for four clean tech, four health tech, four all industries. But if we can't hit, we're looking for quality. So if we can't hit 12, we'll reduce that. It's quality applicants, quality founders that can work in an accelerated environment in a program like this that does challenge you, but gets excellent results for you on the other side. Hopefully that answers your question, Himanshu. All right, we're 2 minutes over time, which means I've kept you for 2 more minutes. Thank you so much for staying with us for 2 more minutes. I'm going to stick around for another minute or so, and if you chuck any other questions up in the Q&A, I'll answer them. Otherwise, Kellen has plastered the chat with heaps of links. Please grab them before you leave. And if you need to have a chat with us, hit us up in the I2N Slack, email us, or come and have a chat in a 20-minute Calendly link. Just always happy to chat about people wanting to take part in the accelerator. But I am so thankful that you all joined us this afternoon on this wet Friday afternoon. Thanks for giving your time to learn about the program. We hope to see all of your applications come July, and we're keen to meet you at boot camp. So thank you again.